The point 0, 0 is reflected in the vertical line x equals 1. When its image is then reflected in the line y equals 2, the resulting point is. So here's 0, 0. And we are first reflecting that in a line of x equals 1. So I'll just write x equals 1 right there. So this is 1, and this line is x equals 1. So if I reflect this point into there, it basically will land on the other side. And that other side will be obviously 2, 0. Okay, so that's that first point. And then this point 2, 0, they're saying, is once again reflected, but this time in the line y equals 2. So approximately here. That's approximately y equals 2. So if you reflect this guy in y equals 2, it will end up somewhere here, approximately, which would be the same x-coordinate, but the y-coordinate would now be 4. So there you go. That's the answer to the question. So number 12, it's 2, 4, which is choice E. The lines with equations x equals 4 and y equals 3x form a triangle with positive x-axis as shown. The area of the triangle is. Well, the area of any triangle is 1/2 base times height. And let's see what we can find for the base and the height in this triangle that's shaded. Well, the base is from there to there, and that's pretty straightforward. That's just 4, since that is x equals 4 right there. And this is the origin. So we put 4. Now, what is the height? Well, the height is here, and that's obviously going to correspond to that point on the y-axis. But how do I get that point? Well, I use this equation. That is the equation of that line, y is equal to 3x. Now, the x-coordinate at this point right here is 4. So I substitute that into this to get the y-coordinate, and that's 12. So 12 represents my height. So there we go. So 1/2 times 4 times 12 is 2 times 12, which is 24. So number 11, the answer is B. The points Q, 1, -1, R, -1, 0, S, 0, 1 are the 3 vertices of a parallelogram. The coordinates of the 4th vertex of the parallelogram could be. Well, let's graph this and see what we get. So they've given us a few. 1, -1, so approximately here. If this is 1, this is -1. And then they've given us -1, 0, so -1, 0 is right here. And 0, 1, so 0, 1 approximately here. And they're saying that these 3 points add up to form part of a parallelogram. So this, and this. Okay. Well, we have actually more than one way of doing this. That's one way. If you do it that way, of course, the other point's got to be somewhere here, right? It's got to match up like that to make a parallelogram. So how we figure that out is just kind of counting. To get this point, we went 1 down and 2 across, right? So very similarly, to get that point, you'd go 1 up and 2 across from here. So if you do that, you'd get up to, this is going to be 2, and then going 2 across that way would be -2. So that point is -2, 2. And that's, interestingly, answer right there in front of you. There's also 2 others. If you draw it in a different way, 0, 2, and 2, 0 also would create a parallelogram with the 3 points that they give you in the question. But those are, interestingly, not part of the answer choices. So the only one that is -2, 2. So number 15, the answer is A. The line from G through the midpoint M of OH intersects the y-axis at P0, -4. What are the coordinates of G? Well, like any line, it'll be of the form y is equal to mx plus b. And if M is the midpoint of OH, it has the coordinates 6, 0. So we've got this line, and we've got 2 points, so we can figure out the equation of that line pretty quickly. First, let's plug in that point. So minus 4 is equal to 0 plus b, therefore b is negative 4. And then let's plug in this point, and that gives me 0 is equal to 6m minus 4, and therefore m looks like is 4 over 6. So we have the equation of our line. It's y is equal to 4 over 6, which is 2 over 3, x minus 4. And then now we have to do is just figure out that coordinate g. Well, the good news is because they give you this coordinate, g is going to have the x coordinate of 12, and then we just have to figure out the y coordinate. And interestingly, all the answer choices have 12 as the x coordinate. All right, so plug in 12 for x, and we'll figure out our y coordinate. So this gives me 24 divided by 3, which is 8. 8 minus 4, so therefore y is 4. So there you go. 12, 4 is the coordinate for g, and that would be for number 12, E. In the diagram, LM is perpendicular to MN. Rectangle WXYZ has W on LM and Z on MN. Also, YZ is equal to 1, XY is equal to 3, and MZ is equal to 1.2. What is the distance from X to line MN to the nearest hundredth of a meter? Okay. Several approaches to this question here. Where should I begin? Well, WM, I think we can figure that out pretty quickly using Pythagoras. So this is 1, this is 3, right? So WM squared plus 1.2 squared is equal to 3 squared. And therefore WM squared is equal to 9 minus 1.44. And WM will therefore be approximately 2.75. Okay, so that's the first thing. Well, one thing I noticed is that we can label that 2.75, that's fine. This line and this line will be perpendicular, right? Because that is a right angle. So this line, the slope, and this line, the slope, will be negative reciprocals. So the slope of WZ, we can figure out pretty quickly. It's minus 2.75 over 1.2, right? Rise over run. So therefore, the slope of WX will be the negative reciprocal, so it's 1.2 over 2.75, and then we drop the negative because it's a negative reciprocal. So what that does is allow me to figure out the equation of that line. And if I do, I can then figure out the coordinates of x. And the y coordinate of x, that's confusing, the y coordinate of x, I wish this wasn't an x, but that's okay, you understand. The y coordinate, whatever goes here, will be the altitude from top to bottom, and that will be the answer to the question. All right, so here we go. We're going to figure out an equation for this line, Wx. So Wx, that, like always, is y equals mx plus b. Y is equal to m, we just figured out, the slope, 1.2 over 2.75, right? X plus b. And then we can use this point, w, to figure out our b. W is 0 for the x, and then 2.75 for the y coordinate. So 2.75 is equal to 0 plus b, so therefore b is equal to 2.75. So our equation is y is equal to 1.2 over 2.75 x plus 2.75. Okay, that's the equation of that line. And I think at this point we have to figure out what is x, meaning what is this coordinate. And I think that we should be able to get it pretty quickly using similar triangles. If you drop a line from there to there and recognize that that is, drawn in a way so that is a right angle, then these angles will all be the same because we've got very similar triangles now I'll show you. This guy is a right angle, right? So this is, if this is theta right here, then this here, this angle is 90 minus theta. And therefore this is theta. And therefore this is 90 minus theta. So that means, had to blow it up a little bit to label it. That basically means that this triangle is the same in terms of its angles as that triangle. So since the distance from here to here is the x-coordinate, right? I know that's confusing. You got an x here and an x here, but you understand. X over 1, this guy over this guy, is the same as a relationship in this triangle right here. And that is going to be the 90 minus theta side, so 2.75. And then the 1 was the 90 minus theta side, so that on this triangle, the 90 minus theta side is 3. So there we go. So therefore, x is 2.75 over 3. Okay, I got it. Okay, so that's what we have to plug here. And if we do, we get the y-coordinate. So here we go. We got 1.2 times 2.75. X is 2.75 over 3 plus 2.75. And, well, this looks like 2.75 cancels, so 1.2 divided by 3 is 0.4 plus 2.75, and that is 3.15. Interesting. I didn't even need to use a calculator. Interesting. So 3.15 is the answer, and number 20, therefore, is C. The coordinates of the three vertices of a parallelogram are 0, 0, 1, 4, and 4, 1. What is the area of this parallelogram? Well, let's first figure out how this parallelogram looks. Join that one, and then I don't know where the fourth vertex is, but I'm guessing it's somewhere here, like that. So that makes it a parallelogram. So the fourth vertex is somewhere there. And they want me to figure out the area. Okay, well, first and foremost, how do you figure out the area? Well, you got to draw a perpendicular and try to make this perpendicular. I think that should be good enough, where that is 90 degrees. So to figure out the area, it would basically be the length times the height. So length times height. Very similar to length times width in a rectangle. Okay, the length I can figure out pretty quickly. That's just going to be the length or the distance between 2 points. So that's very straightforward. It's going to be 4 minus 1 squared, right? The distance between 2 points, 1 minus 4 squared, square root, like that. So that's like 9 and 9 under the square root sign. That's root 18. Okay, so I've got immediately root 18. And the height's going to take a little bit more work, but not too much work, I think. Let's see here. The height, I think I'll be able to get that by finding the equation, the line there, and then finding the equation of that line because it's perpendicular, and then finding the intersection point. Okay, the first equation, y is equal to mx plus b. I can quickly use these 2 points to figure out m and b. If I use 1, 4, I get 4 is equal to m plus b, and if I use 4, 1, I get 1 is equal to 4m plus b. Subtracting these two, I get 3 is equal to minus 3m, and therefore m is equal to negative 1. Substitute that back into any of those guys, and I get b is equal to 5. So there you go. I've got my equation, y is equal to minus x plus 5. That's the equation of this line right here. Okay, now the good news is this line is perpendicular, so its slope is a negative reciprocal. That is negative 1. Negative reciprocal of negative 1 is just 1. So this line right here, immediately I know, has the form y is equal to 1x plus b. But it passes through the origin, so I can substitute 0, 0, and when I do, I get b is equal to 0. So that line is y is equal to x, this one right here. So my very important point right there I can figure out by equating these two, point of intersection, y is equal to x, y is equal to minus x plus 5, so set them equal to each other. And you get that. X is equal to minus x plus 5, bring the x over, and you get x is equal to 5 over 2. So this point right here is 5 over 2, 5 over 2, right? Because x is equal to y. And now all I have to do is figure out the distance from there to there. And that's pretty straightforward. 5 over 2 minus 0 squared plus 5 over 2 minus 0 squared, all under the square root, is my h. And that looks like 2 times 5 over 2 squared, all under the square root. And that's going to simplify to just root 2 times 5 over 2. So come back here, put in that h, and I got root 2, 5 over 2. And that looks like root 36 times 5 over 2. The root 36 is just 6. So 6 times 5 over 2. And that's going to be 15. So number 19, the answer is A. A point is equidistant from the coordinate axes if the vertical distance from the point to the x-axis is equal to the horizontal distance from the point to the y-axis. The point of intersection of the line x equals A with the line 3x plus 8y is equal to 24 is equidistant from the coordinate axes. What is the sum of all possible values of A? Let's draw our coordinate axes and try to get an understanding of what we can possibly do in this question. If something is equidistant, then pretty much that I can conclude that it is on the line either y equals x or the line y equals negative x, though any point on those two lines will be equidistant from the x-axis and y-axis. So that is my conclusion. Now we have been given this equation, 3x plus 8y is equal to 24. So we can easily plot that. When x is 0, that would mean y is 3. So let's just say here. And when y is 0, x is 8, so approximately here. So that's going to be that line. Let's just connect those. So now, where do the lines y equals x and y equals minus x intersect with that line? That line being this one. You can clearly see there's one intersection point here, and the other intersection point is right there. So if I can find those two will represent my a's. The first A will be basically this intersection point. It will be that A. And the next A will be this intersection point right here. So that's what we have to do, to figure out this A and that A. Okay, so the first one is the intersection between y is equal to x and this equation. So that's easy. You can just substitute y equals x. So it'll be 3x plus 8x is equal to 24. So 11x is equal to 24, and therefore x is equal to 24 over 11. So this is 24 over 11. Okay, the x value, since this is the x-axis and this is the y-axis. Now we have to figure out the other one. That's when y is equal to negative x, that line, and 3x plus 8y is equal to 24. Well, y is equal to negative x here, so we substitute negative x, and that equals 24. So this is minus 5x is equal to 24, and therefore x is equal to 24 over negative 5. Okay, so that means this a over here is 20 or negative 24 over 5. They want you to find the sum of the possible values of a. All right, well, that sum will be 24 over 11 minus 24 over 5. And let's get a common denominator. Let's see here, 5 and 5, 11 and 11. So that is 120 minus 240, 264 over 55, and that is minus 144 over 55. And that's it. So 19, the answer is B. 1, 1, 5, 1, 1, 7 are the three vertices of a rectangle. What are the coordinates of the fourth vertex? Well, you can join these guys like that, and you can kind of see how a rectangle could be formed. And of course, they want you to figure out that vertex right there. Well, it's obviously going to have an x and y. The x is going to be the same as this guy right here. You're just going straight up, so the x doesn't change from that point. The y is going to be the same as this guy right here because you're going straight across, and that means the y coordinate doesn't change from this point. So that's a 7. And that's it. So number 11, the answer is C. In the diagram, which of the following squares should be shaded to make BD a line of symmetry of the square ABCD? Well, looking at this, this is 4 from the line of symmetry, approximately. So I've got to do the same thing up here, 4 from the line of symmetry. So I've got to shade in that one. And then this one here is 2 down from the line of symmetry. So I've got to go 2 across from that line of symmetry. So I've got to shade that one. And that would make DB or BD a line of symmetry. So which ones did I circle or shade? P and S. So that would make number 16 A. The line y is equal to negative 3/4 x plus 9 crosses the x-axis at point P and the y-axis at point Q. The point T, RS, is on the line segment PQ. If the area of triangle POQ is 3 times the area of triangle TOP, then the value of R plus S is. All right. So the first thing, of course, is we need to figure out P and Q, because those are obviously going to give us the area of that big triangle. And that's where that equation comes in. And this is really just figuring out the x and y intercepts. So first, find the y-intercept, set x to 0, and that quickly gives you y is equal to 9. So that means this is 9. So that this side is basically 9, QO or OQ, whatever. Now find the x-intercept, set y to 0, and you get the following. Bring the 3/4 over to the other side, and then x is therefore equal to 9 times 4 divided by 3, and that looks like 3 times 4, which is 12. So this distance is 12. All right, so the first thing I want to figure out is the triangle POQ area. 1/2 base times height, the base is 12, the height is 9, and that looks like 6 times 9, which is 54. All right. So they tell me that if I were to find the area of TOP, so I'll just make that triangle there. This is TOP. That is going to be related to the area that I just figured out in the following way, that POQ is 3 times the area of TOP. So that basically means that the triangle TOP, the area is 54 divided by 3, which is 18. All right? So now we have to figure out this area using our dimensions, and I'm just going to draw a height with that red line right there. So here we go. 18, which is the area of TOP, is 1/2 base times height. The base is this guy right here, 12, and the height, well, that is going to be represented in terms of either R or S. Which one? S, right? Because that is the top to bottom or vertical distance. Correct? So I've got S here, and that equals 18. So this looks like 18 is equal to 6S, and therefore S is equal to 3. All right, so we've got half the puzzle. So now we have to figure out R. How do we figure out R? Well, this point is on this line. So to figure out the other coordinate, plug it into that line. Y is equal to -3/4 x plus 9. We want to figure out R. S we already figured out was 3, so S represents the Y coordinate. So put 3 here, correct? -3/4. Our X is actually represented by the letter R, so put that in there. And therefore, solving for this, we get 3/4R is equal to 9 minus 3, which is 6. So R would be 6 times 4 divided by 3. And that looks like 2 times 4, which is 8. So finally, what they want is R plus S. So R plus S, 8 plus 3, and that is equal to 11. So number 20, the answer is C.